This is Hit Publish, the first podcast dedicated to uncovering heroic businesses secretly navigating the ever-changing digital landscape. Each episode, we'll play host to leaders in their fields discussing their adoption of the latest digital trends and related technologies, addressing the total effects on the way we market businesses and brands across all of our industries. And occasionally, we'll pay homage to the technology giants who dictate our online lives and the platforms they provide, reminding ourselves of the self-inflicted and inevitable misuse of personal data. So if this all sounds good to you, skip the terms and conditions, ignore the privacy policy, and hit subscribe. On this episode of Hit Publish.
It's for people that need things that are unbelievably simple and straightforward, but need a technology platform to enable it. Lots of these apps probably exist elsewhere, but they're not discoverable. 85% of the population of the particular area to have a chance to download that app within kind of 9 months to a year. We don't need any personal details at all.
On this episode, we spoke to Tony Bicknell of Smart World Connect. After working in a number of digital transformation and analytics roles in the electronics and media industries, Tony created Smart World Connect, which aims to improve community collaboration and achieve a true smart city. Smart World Connect provides a platform for app developers to build basic apps for local communities. Distributed through the Digital Community Hub, users can access a wide range of commercial and community apps which help connect people with shared interests, utilise resources, and encourage engagement.
We asked Tony about what we can expect to find within the Digital Community Hub, about the new Google Flutter app technology it's built using, and how it's planned to provide a revenue for users. We talked about how it will be rolled out in towns and cities, how it will gain users, and what need it is satisfying in order to be able to carve out a niche alongside other familiar apps.
Hello everyone, hi Chris.
Good morning, Ian.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Hit Publish. I've got a cold.
Good, thanks for that.
That's all right, I'm probably dying, you know it is.
Yeah.
We're joined by Tony from Smart World Connect. Hi Tony.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for coming in and having a chat with us. We're going to start talking about Smart World Connect and the Digital Community Hub, which is an interesting concept. I've done some research online. I've had a look and I've got some questions and some bits poised and ready to go for you. So we're going to jump straight into it. First of all, let's tell everyone exactly what the Digital Community Hub is and why we need one.
The Digital Community Hub is effectively a gateway to find lots of different apps that are specific for your local community. Okay. So they could be business apps at one end, they could be click and collect for local independent stores, or they could be purely community things like volunteering opportunities. And the crucial thing is that lots of these apps probably exist elsewhere, but they're not discoverable. Okay. So the Digital Community Hub is one place where you'd find everything to do with your local community. Could be council things, it could be environmental projects, it could be things for students, it could be things for older people, all in one place. Could be smart parking, could be buying your theatre tickets. And the beauty of it is that all of the apps work exactly the same way. So once you've used one of the apps, you can use all of them. Okay. If you paid for and bought something on one of the apps, it's exactly the same payment things. You don't have to go through all putting your numbers and your details in again.
So it's like almost like an Amazon one-click buy. Yeah,
exactly. So we're hoping for the local community, it's going to be a go-to place where you want to do the things that are important to you, but also discover other things that could be interesting for you.
Excellent. Yeah. So from your whatever town, if your town's got your technology, the Smart World Connect sort of app, Digital Community Hub, you can go in there, and that's the one place you need to go to sort of provide all these services.
Exactly.
And what kind of technology is being used behind the scenes there? What's the platform that's being used to build on?
Well, the only way that we're able to do this and the business model that we've got is because we're using the brand new Flutter technology that's come out of Google.
Okay.
So it got launched in November last year. And it's gone through various kind of iterations, but it's now I think it's the fastest growing software development kit in the world now.
Okay.
And we're one of the first teams off the block to use that technology.
And is that still using like familiar programming languages, etc., that that are used with the platforms natively? So Swift for iOS and Java and C++, etc.
Well, it's all used. So the Dart is the main programming language behind it. But what's really neat about it is it's the same code base works on your iOS and on your Android and on your website. So basically, you can program it once and use it across all three platforms, and that has a number of benefits. One of the key ones being it costs a fraction of the amount of doing it normally.
Is that work across devices as well? So, or is this just a phone app as well as a tablet app? Or
yeah. So it'll work on your tablet as well. So phone, tablet, and on your website, exactly the same. So if you've want to put a booking platform together, you can have it on your apps and on your website, and it's all one booking platform.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so forgive me, I hadn't heard of this Flutter thing. So is that it's a fairly new Google thing, but it makes it easy for people to build apps and get them out there?
Yes, I think one of the ways that I like to describe it is in the past, if you made a website, you used to have to go to somebody who had to write code for it.
Yes.
But now you've got all the website builders where you can actually, take lumps of code to do a function called a widget, and you basically bolt the widgets together.
Yes, yeah.
It's almost identical type of thing with Flutter. So it's basically all around widgets. So you don't have to do any actual coding. You're just bolting the widgets together to make your application.
Excellent.
There's things like, do you remember we played with it very briefly a few years ago, App Machine?
Yeah.
It was like a widget-based drag and drop scenario for building apps and whatever, but it was really clunky and it was a bit messy and it was a bit hard work. So I'm assuming a big brand like Google has got hold of that and just streamlined it and simplified it. And
it's a real breakthrough. I mean, I know that there have been those other ones before, so people have tried it before. This is a total breakthrough on that. So I think we're going to be, we were one of the first out of the block, so we're very excited to be using it. But I think everyone will be doing it.
A bit of a game changer.
I think it's a game changer.
And speaking of that, you mentioned within there that some of the things that can be done is about e-commerce for local traders or whatever.
Yes, I think one of the because it's a lot easier to make the apps using the Flutter technology, and with things like a payment portals like Stripe, you can embed them really easily into the apps. Mm-hmm. It means we can kind of break the commercial mold and actually have local independents using e-commerce for the first time. We can provide it to them at a really, really low cost. Nothing like what's happened before.
Sure.
And hopefully jump their business up. So that's where we're going with this. We want this to be like a local community thing to support local areas. And so everything we're doing is on the Digital Community Hub is geo-fenced.
Okay. Does it still, to build the apps, does it still require a developer skill set, or can literally, like anyone can sign up to Wix, not that anyone should really, but or Squarespace or whatever, and someone can just build a website? Is it a similar concept?
Yes, I think it's one step more difficult than a Squarespace example.
Okay.
But what we've done is we've actually created effectively the widget templates. Mm-hmm. So one of the propositions for us when we do our Digital Community Hub, when we roll it out, is that the local community will be able to make their own apps for free. And literally, we send them the templates, they fill in the templates, send it back to us, and we publish.
Yeah, okay.
So that's the first time we think that's ever been done anywhere in the world.
I certainly haven't heard of anything like that. One of the things that jumped out on me when I was looking at the website and the app examples that will feature on the store. So you mentioned earlier things like booking platforms, things like smart parking, etc. These are all things that already exist, right? Mm. And I understand that the emphasis is on local and local communities making use of one-stop shop kind of platform. But how do you get people and traffic from those monster brands like booking.com, for example, over to something like Smart World Connect, or something over to Digital Community Hub?
Well, let's take the example of booking.com. They charge a pretty hefty commission, 20%. So anytime you book a room through booking.com, the hotel is giving 20% commission.
Right. Yeah.
Our platform is a fraction of the cost of that. So our commission rates effectively are half that, and some of that commission actually goes back to the community as well. So what the hotels have told us is that they would like to have the digital community hub on their free Wi-Fi, so you can download that, and the visitors to the hotels can interact with local community activities that are on that platform to give a richer experience for their guests. And so they like that. And they were hoping that if people want to rebook, or they've told their friends about booking at a hotel with a rich local experience, that they might want to rebook and would use the booking platform that's actually part of the digital community hub to go back next time. So
as far as the vendors are concerned, then really it's the incentive is the better cost. But how do you then get those apps into the hands of people?
Yeah, so that's the crucial bit. That's the bit that we don't have, but it's the bit that the communities have. So so going through that example at the moment with Gloucester, and number one thing you have to get is if you can do the downloads of the digital community hub, which is the gateway to all the other apps, via the town centre Wi-Fi, that's brilliant. So that's the first thing that we're going to do. Then plus, look, you can have your links through all of your social media.
Sure.
But the thing we've discovered over the last couple of months is that as we've been engaging with the stakeholders, who are the people that are providing the content for the apps, they're all happy to have the digital community hub downloaded from their sites and from their social media activity. So actually, I think with a mixture of their sites, the town centre Wi-Fi, and the marketing campaign, we're going to get the message over to the people in the community that this is something for them and they should at least have a look at it and take it seriously. So we hope we'll get the chance for 85% of the population of the particular area to have a chance to download that app within kind of 9 months to a year.
And I guess things like hopefully the tourist information centres and places like that can kind of, talk about it and promote it and push it to new users and visitors to the areas.
Yeah, I think so. And because I think it's particularly important that that effectively half of it is purely about the community. Okay. So I think that's important. I think and built into the way that we do the apps is a referral program. And so let's say if there was a environmental activity to clean up a local river, let's say, you might spot it and go, actually, I could give a couple of hours to that. On the apps, you can invite people from your contact list to the same activity, and you can refer activities as well. So we think word of mouth actually will be pretty strong on this as well.
Okay.
So you mentioned Gloucester there, Tony, as a town that you're working with, a city that you're working with. Is there any others that you're working with, or is it something that anyone listening can push it into their local areas?
Yes, and look, it's brilliant with working with Gloucester. They wanted to be the pioneers for this, which is excellent. But we've got a number of other major towns and cities around the country who are lining up. We're just going through the next stage now. But look, the company's called Smart World Connect because we're looking to do this on an international basis. And we've been in touch with towns and cities in Canada and in Finland and all sorts of places around the world. And we'd love to do exactly what we're doing with Gloucester in other places. And the Gloucester thing has gone very, very well. So we're building up a nice track record and a nice story to tell.
Excellent. We spoke briefly just off air. Is that right? Off air? Are we on air? Not really on air, are we?
No,
that the audience for the target audience or demographic for this would literally be everyone within a community, so young and old. Certainly for the younger audience, how do you draw them away from the app stores that they love, Android app stores, Apple app stores, and the social channels that they're in all the time, over to something like that?
It's a really good question, and that's going to be quite a battle, I would imagine, quite a challenge. One of the things that we've embedded into everything that we do is a community credits program. So if you're a kid and you volunteer for something, maybe with like a Duke of Edinburgh Awards scheme type thing, and you do it through the apps, you will get community credits, and you'll be able to exchange those community credits for local offers which will be audience specific. Plus, at the end of the year, there'll be an awards program for who has contributed the most to your local community. So whilst they might not find it immediately themselves, they might find it through the schools and through programs for young people. So hoping that might get some traction in that way.
Okay. And I guess from what you're saying, it's not sort of setting it out to replace any of those sort of well-known platforms, but it's kind of another key to particularly local community and convenience, and
particularly for the younger people who are more involved in the kind of environmental issues. It's perfect for them because they will be able to discover environmental projects on the apps and be able to engage with that. And again, it might all be partly linked through the schools, but you might find community groups who are involved, and certainly in the stakeholder groups that we've been interviewing and speaking to at the beginning, youth clubs are a very important part of that.
Okay. I'm interested to understand about the developer community for it. Much like the big app stores, Android and Apple, they're heavily reliant on great developers producing great apps to make that app store thrive. Do you guys do anything in-house, or are you solely reliant on app developers to build these apps for the platform?
Well, there's a couple of sides to that. Is the apps that we do are incredibly basic, and they are specifically basic for a number of reasons. One is, we talked about the kids being a target audience, but actually older people are a really, really important audience for us, because we want to find a way to get these people out of their homes, meeting other people around shared interest. So the apps are really, really simple. They will not win any design awards, but they are brilliantly functional. There are no hidden menus on any of them. You literally see exactly what you have to do on each of the pages, and it's forward and back after that. So they are meant to be able to use it and book it and make something happen and arrange something within just a few seconds. And that's what they're there for. So in terms of the app developer community, one of my biggest challenges has been able to keep my app creation team to do simple things. And they say, look, we can make this beautiful. And I say, no, that's not what we want. But then the template that we've got that works, which is the same template for all of the apps that we do, is in a format that the community can build their own apps now for free and put them on it. And we had a great example in Bournemouth of yoga on the beach app. So there's so many things we've just never thought of. And now the local community might have some great ideas we've never thought of, and they can make that app now.
Yeah. I might be jumping the gun a bit here because, correct if I'm wrong, it's still at prototyping stage, am I right?
Yes. I mean, effectively, it's all everything's all ready to go. We just need to populate it.
Okay. How are you getting through the many hoops that you have to jump through to get onto iOS platform? Especially, I know that Apple are very funny about launching apps that hold apps within them, and it's a bit of a nightmare. How are you finding that path?
Right. So basically, there's the path is it's local, it's a digital community hub, and it's a gateway to other apps. It's not in a scale that is that would be damaging to to Google Play or iTunes at all. So in terms of it, we're non-threatening, and we're small scale.
Will they have to review the apps that you publish to your app store?
All of the apps that we publish to our digital community hub will also be available on Android and iTunes.
Oh, okay. So they actually sit separately as well.
They have to be.
That's the way to get around it then, I assume. Yeah. Okay, good. Nice.
Okay, Tony, so I just want to, you mentioned previously again about the e-commerce. Can you explain to me how that works? So if I'm a local trader, I've got my Gloucester app installed, for example, if I'm based there. How do I have my own store app within that, if that makes sense? Or
you could do, but basically what we've done is we've set up some effectively apps that people can join in.
Okay.
So let's say if you're a market trader and you're selling fruit and veg, and you've got 2 trays of tomatoes left and it's 2:30 in the afternoon, you could, from your smartphone, you can take a picture of the tomatoes, put a special offer in, put it into the right category, which is fruit and veg, special offer, 50% off tomatoes for the next 2 hours. You post that from your smartphone. It will go onto the app, and the users would have already set a preference that they are interested in special offers from local traders. So they would then get message to say there's a special offer going on down in the town. So the market trader, they can use that service for free. The only thing is that the money will get paid through Stripe, in this case, our payment portal. The trader will get 90% of all of the transaction revenue that goes through.
Okay.
How does this not get outside of the local areas? I know each local area, the idea is for each one to have its own app store, essentially. But let's say I live in Gloucester and I move to Cheltenham. How does that change, or does it change dynamically the app? Okay, you no longer live here. These apps are no longer appropriate. So instead...
Yes, effectively what happens is that you'll... so on your smartphone, you will have effectively next to your app store for your Google Play or for your iTunes, you'll have Digital Community Hub, and it's geofenced. So your home screen would be Gloucester if you came from Gloucester. If you went to Cheltenham and we did the same thing for Cheltenham or somewhere else, you would see the front page would look like Cheltenham, and if you then downloaded the apps related to Cheltenham, they would sit in a different Digital Community Hub for Cheltenham.
Does it cater in any way to visitors?
The visitor thing I think is really interesting. That's where a lot of the biggest benefits will come from. So one of the things, if we actually get this as part of a kind of tourist information type world, it would be a great way for people who are coming to visit somewhere to get a richer experience, because there'll be local community and free things on it, not just what's advertised to the tourists.
Okay. We're about halfway through. Should we do some news?
Yes.
Let's do some news. Chris, 5 minutes on the clock.
Doing it.
Go. Facebook launched new work groups to connect with co-workers on the platform. Did you know that?
I did see that, yes, but I don't know a lot about it.
Yeah. So I think you've got your small business. I assume it's aimed at small business, but you've got your small business, and you just want to sort of have your own tight-knit group, and you only want to get people in there that are employed in the company. You can do that, and you can bring them all in. You can do all that kind of thing.
But it's like having a work WhatsApp group or something.
Yeah, not too dissimilar. But I wonder, have you heard of Facebook's own workplace?
No.
Okay, so Facebook has its own standalone app called Facebook Workplace, and it's like almost like an integrated Facebook for your business only. But I think you sort of need to be an enterprise level business to have hundreds, if not thousands, of employees to make use of it. But it's like your own personal Facebook for just your business on an enterprise level. It seems like they're kind of making it a bit smaller and a bit more accessible for smaller businesses. Okay. So maybe like Nettle or Now get all their teams together and just jump into one of these groups, and that's where all you guys live to chat all things about your business. I think it's a good idea.
Fair enough. Yeah.
LinkedIn reaches 660 million members. It also continues to have record levels of engagement. We spoke about this loads in the past. The engagement levels on LinkedIn is off the charts, and it still continues. It's a bit like how Facebook was 5 years ago. It's all free. It's all good stuff. And because of that, they continue to grow. However, to put it into perspective, though, Instagram has 1 billion active users, have been running for less than half the time of LinkedIn. And Facebook is nearly at 2.5 billion active users. The thing to keep in mind there is LinkedIn 660 million members and then active users are two very different metrics. And active users is what we really care about over members. There could be X amount of million of those 660 just dormant profiles there. But it's good. It's good stuff. I like LinkedIn. It's probably one of my favorite platforms. Actually, it's the only one I'm active on it. Are you active on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's crucial.
Yeah. I think it's, for me anyway, certainly is the only one I care.
It's worked very well for recruitment.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, absolutely. Here's a very relevant bit of news, given weekend just gone, and the sad news we have of England rugby team unfortunately losing out to the World Cup to South Africa. But smart gum shields are monitoring rugby concussions, which I think is quite cool.
Your gum shield is measuring concussions.
That's right. Yeah. Smart gum shields. Yeah. So it's a new product being trialled this season by Dan Lydiot. You're a rugby man, aren't you?
Yeah, but I've never heard of him.
Okay. Welsh plays for the Welsh regional team, the Ospreys.
Okay.
And his teammates look to change that. So it's called OPRO Plus. It builds impact sensors into personalised gum shields worn by the players to protect their teeth, of course. This puts the sensors closer to the centre of the skull. And because they've moulded to each individual's palate, they paint a more accurate picture of the forces involved in each impact.
Right.
So it can't.
Good stuff.
It's good, yeah. It can't diagnose a concussion,
sure,
but it can certainly give sort of metrics and analytics based on
how hard the impact was.
Exactly, yeah. It's really good stuff. It's quite interesting. So they're trialing that at the moment, but this obviously doesn't just, for rugby players. This is everything from boxing to basically any contact sport.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a game changer, and I think it'll be good stuff. Moving on,
good.
Google purchased Fitbit.
Okay.
Did you know that?
I didn't know that. But
that's why there's news,
world
Chris.
Domination.
Yeah, indeed, yeah. So 2.1 billion was the price. That's not cheap. But why have they done it? So Google purchased Fitbit because, let's face it, their sort of wearable market isn't great.
Yeah.
Google Glass is the last thing I remember that failed miserably.
Yeah.
And Fitbit obviously is their quickest way to market for something like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I can't imagine it'll be long before we see an Android smartwatch that's going to sort of rival the likes of Apple smartwatch in not too distant future. Everyone's freaking out though, of course. All of current Fitbit users, lots of them are jumping ship and etc. because of the whole data privacy and what's going on there.
Yeah.
What Google's going to do with all of that kind of data and how scary it is, which is fair enough. I get that. Apple are very much their walled garden, and they don't share your data, and they're all very, very much about that. Whereas Google's a lot more open. So I think it'll be interesting to see what comes of it and whether it will stay as Fitbit. But who knows? Last one. I think this might be the first time we do news within 5 minutes.
We're doing it. You all spoke too soon.
Rubbish. Sorry, we'll do this last one. Despite the insane amount of negative press, Facebook is still growing and making even more money. So just some quick numbers for you. Facebook reached 17.7 billion for the quarter just gone, up 29% year over year. Facebook is on track to bring in close to 70 billion in total revenue. It's obviously the most used platform. It's funny because I don't know about you, but everyone's like, dropping off of Facebook. Certainly the younger audience dropping off of Facebook, moving over to Instagram, Snap, that kind of thing. But it's still growing. It's still mammoth. And it's still by a country mile the leading platform for social media.
Absolutely.
That's the news.
My question is, how are you delivering this in towns? You can't be in every town and doing all this groundwork. How are you helping that?
Well, there's two ways of doing it. One is for every town or city that we do, there's effectively a Smart World Connect account manager. But actually, we're tapping into the local universities to try and get them to engage in all aspects of it, whether it's the business computing teams to help them understand how they develop apps, or whether the universities have got tourism or urban regeneration topics, and we're trying to engage the students in what we're doing so that effectively they can do mini projects based on this, and they're acting as our supplementary field force. And they've been great so far, by the way. We've been working with Westminster University and Surrey University. Both have been excellent. And we're just beginning the engagement with University of Gloucester.
Oh, great.
Excellent.
We spoke earlier briefly about the developer community. I'm interested to know the incentive for them and how the apps can be monetized. They can get a kickback for the work that they do.
Yeah, so what we've done is the template that we've created has got an inbuilt booking and a payment platform. So if a developer creates an app using our templates and there's a transaction that needs to be done, the developer will get 2.5% of the transaction value. Now,
Okay. Is that on top of like the payment gateway? So Stripe, for example, if that's
so effectively, if you add it all together, Stripe is about 2% overall, and then some money goes back to the community, some money goes to fund us as well. So it's effectively split that way.
Okay.
But so if you make a good app and works in a local community, local town, local city, you might get maybe £2,000 back. So it's not a huge amount of money, but to a student, that's
good pocket money. Be a fund, isn't it?
That's fantastic.
Yes.
But if we like the app that they've created and we then take it to 9 other places, 9 other towns or cities around the world, that 2,000 could become £20,000 a year for effectively filling in some templates and keeping the content fresh, which is crucial.
Sounds good.
How are you running updates like that, actually? Is that down to the developer to maintain the app as they would do if they were just publishing it to the store normally?
Yeah, we effectively look after the kind of the infrastructure of the app. We need to make sure that was, but they have to look after the content. And our account management team will be on their case to make sure that the content stays fresh and relevant all the time. And at any point it doesn't, then the app just will disappear off the site.
As a user, is there like a sign-up process where you capture data, etc.?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
No,
that was going to be my next question.
We've gone,
ooh, data. So yeah,
how
are you handling that?
So effectively, you've got to say, you want to download the Digital Community Hub for a start. We don't need any personal details at all. We are not asking for anything. And amazingly, we can run the whole thing with never having any of the individual user's personal details.
If you're storing payment details, though, you must have
Stripe does.
Stripe does it for you. Of course it does, yes.
So
with
Stripe
tokens.
so Stripe will handle all of that. And that's the only bit that needs to happen. We don't need to. All we need is the MAC address, the user ID.
And how are you managing sort of the developers side of it? Is the template so locked down that they can't capture information anyway?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's and we've deliberately kept everything really, really simple because we want this thing to be really easy to use. We no design awards for us unless it's about functionality, and then we might be fairly high up on that list.
That's interesting then. For a developer community, obviously they want to push boundaries and try new things and do new things. The caveat to it being super simple for the user and for the communities, the people that are using it. How do you then attract developers to ultimately build apps that to them might be on the surface of it quite boring to build?
We want people to build apps who've got an idea and they want something to work.
Okay.
And that's it.
So it's not necessarily hardcore developers.
No, it will probably specifically not be hardcore developers. It will be people who are not scared, who maybe might have had a go to do some kind of website before they've engaged in that.
So even the likes of business owners then that want a website or want an app, I just need that. This is an easy one-stop shop.
That group.
Okay.
And did you say you'll potentially help with understanding Flutter and how to start to build using that?
Yeah, so our support team will, so basically a tiny proportion of the transaction value goes back to supporting the local community people who want to develop their own apps. That's really crucial for us.
Yeah. Correct if I'm wrong, it's not Flutter is what's going on behind the scenes. Flutter's open source, right?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So Flutter's what's going on behind the scenes, but is it actually when people jump in to build this, they're jumping into Smart World Connect?
Exactly, yeah. They are basically filling in the Word templates that basically get lodged in with the framework of the app.
Understood.
Yeah, okay.
How involved are you as a Smart World Connect? How involved are you once the Digital Community Hub has been launched in Z City and it's up and running, it's going, and developers are building for it? Are you quite hands off, or are you there ongoing?
The ongoing bit is all about keeping the content fresh and supporting the community to build new apps, because we will deliver them an initial app suite, but we want the community to effectively own this and be able to make apps that are relevant to them. And our account team will basically just be on their case saying, you've got to keep the content good and the content fresh. And that's all we have to do once the thing's set up.
With things like, let's take the booking as an example, or the smart parking. These are all apps that are as a user, it's something I need, and that one moment I need it, and I've used it. Thank you very much. Goodbye. When you say keeping content fresh, how do you keep content fresh for something like a booking platform that ultimately is just hotel rooms or something like that?
Yeah, we just got to keep the hotel rooms going on.
Understood. Okay.
Yeah. So the app. So hopefully we will pretty much never have to change the structure of the apps, because unless we can find a way to make them even easier to use. And part of that, of course, is that all of the Flutter technology, the Google technology, is all voice enabled as well. So that will be part of it. They'll be so simple. You'll literally be able to talk at your phone and interact with the apps. It's all built in.
Nice. And is that using Google Assistant?
That's right.
So, and then presumably if it's installed on iOS, does it also talk to Siri?
An excellent question.
One for the techies. Fine, no problem.
It does, but I don't know the technical reason why it does.
How does Smart World Connect, the Digital Community Hub, how does it affect local communities, and why do we need it?
Well, I think the crucial thing, where we started off, was trying to find a way to help rebuild communities, because I think everybody must sense that their communities are struggling to stay together in the way that they might have done 100 years before. So we're trying to do our bit to make mini communities within the community around shared interest. We're trying to do anything that we can get people who are lonely to get out of their house, to meet other people, share experiences, and ideally find those in the town centre to help kind of rebuild that way, make new activities and make town centres a bit more experiential rather than just retail based. So we can't do a lot about that, but we can do a little bit about that. And that's really behind why we started this thing in the first place.
Those words that you just said then about making the high street more of an experience place is very...
ties into what we've
UK DRIC and exactly
Absolutely.
What the UK DRIC is trying to do to make the high street more of an experience than what it used to, because now you're competing with these online other retailers, not you, other retailers are competing with Amazon and so on and so forth, so that it needs to bring something new to the table to bring people to the high street. And if this is the kind of thing that does it, well then great.
Well, one of the apps is literally to help people create activities. So effectively, you've got if you've got, let's say, an activity space in a town centre, it could be the centre of a shopping centre, for instance. One of the apps is a templated version of how you would go about getting an activity done, whether it's a classical music or whether it's a Punch and Judy show. And so you can literally go on and put in the things, get your 3 documents are attached to it, your health and safety, your risk assessment, and they're attached to it to make it nice and easy for people to create the activities as well.
Okay.
Nice. We talked in the news about sort of Facebook and LinkedIn and stuff. Is there any integration with the Digital Community Hub and those social media sort of platforms, or are they
not really? But but what we're doing is it's effectively a templated version of Facebook. So imagine if you wanted to try and get an event or an activity set up, you could try it with Facebook, but you'd have to put all the attributes and the requirements and things into that. What we're doing is effectively creating apps that have structured all this for you already. So it's really simple and quick to use. And
playing devil's advocate, certainly on things like activities and events, why would I go to the Digital Community Hub when I can set the same thing up on Facebook and immediately get results?
Well, I think the people that are doing that, I think they will, if they're happy to do it that way, they will. We effectively are looking at maybe new people that haven't done that and not experienced in doing that, maybe an older generation of people or maybe newer people. And it's if you need that type of thing, but done really easily, you'd find us And then maybe they might translate and be able to find and do it in Facebook. But we don't need to try and replace anything.
No.
It's not. We're nudging behaviour. We're not trying to change anything or recreate anything.
Indeed.
Your differences there, all the other bits within it in the community hub, all the other sort of things you can do in there, really.
Yeah, it's for people that need things that are unbelievably simple and straightforward, but need a technology platform to enable it.
How are you going to raise awareness for this?
Well, first of all, getting the downloads of the Digital Community Hub from free town centre Wi-Fi. That's like the number one thing that gets all of this moving. We've also, when we've been engaging with the potential stakeholders who are providing the content, they appear to be happy for the Digital Community Hub to be downloaded from their sites and their social media as well. Plus, there's many things that we can do to help local councils, so the council can get behind the marketing of this as well.
When you say making use of the city Wi-Fi, how does that work? Sorry, so is it when I connect to say Gloucester City Wi-Fi and you get that little pop-up that says you're on Gloucester Wi-Fi, you're saying it will be within there as an
exactly.
I see.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a number of things. So we've been looking and building marketing plans, and I think we're going to be able to get a lot of communication out, because I think that this is new, and people hopefully will trust it when they see it. But if they've come across it in marketing maybe 2 or 3 times and have maybe heard something on the radio, and they feel that the message is something very much for the community, I think people will give it a try. There's no other external advertising on it, so there's nothing's being pushed. It's all self-select. It's all, what are you interested in and what can you give back to the community?
When you say there's no sort of external, do you mean paid ads and that kind of thing?
None.
Why is that?
Because we very much want it to look and feel like it's there for the community rather than an advertising platform.
Understood.
We think that wrecks these things.
Yeah, it's a conscious decision to make it more your own local thing.
Exactly.
Understood.
I guess all the hotels or all the other retailers or community groups in there, they've all got their own markets of people that you can kind of help promote this through.
Yes, I think so. So everyone's been absolutely fantastically engaged so far. So look, we've got a number of very important steps to go, and you're never there until you're done. But so far, it looks like we will get the marketing support and the good content to at least give this program a chance of working.
It all sounds really great, and I think it's a really good idea. I just think that it's going to be hard work and half graft to get people over from apps that they're familiar with and they know and they're their go-to place over to something like this.
I agree. So there might be some special interest things that people latch hold of, but what you really want is a big idea that people could think, actually, it would be better doing it that way. And one of those is smart parking. So, imagine just wanting to go into the centre of town for 30 minutes. You can just book a specific parking space ahead of time and just go in and know that you've got that parking space, and the app directs you to that parking space. So that's one of the great ones. Now there's if we are in control of that and we're running it directly with the parking space, you can use the smart parking app. But there's obviously a lot of other parking apps going on at the moment, and what we're hoping to do is to engage with those people and basically just provide an aggregation for that. Which
would be great, because I've got about 10 apps for different parking. It's a nightmare.
And so I think it's sensible, and I think then the commercial model from our side, I don't think will be too difficult. So we will be having those conversations, and hopefully that one thing will then be the go-to use for a lot of people in the communities, and then they'll discover the rest of it.
Yeah, and I think parking is definitely a good thing to go with, because not only are you going to reach sort of local communities with that, everybody needs parking when they come into town, etc., but also visitors that are coming in from the outside as well.
$1 million question that's always hard to ask things like this in developments. Have you got an estimation on delivery date for when this might be up and live?
Yes. So the crucial thing is, at what point can we get the high quality content? So the stage at Gloucester at the moment, we've finished the stakeholder engagement, and for the next couple of months, we'll be getting example content from them. We'll then be showing those stakeholders what their content looks like in the apps. If they're happy, we'll then be agreeing the terms of keeping that content fresh. And we think all that exercise should be done by the end of February. And we'll do a soft launch, make sure everything all works.
Yeah.
And ideally, somewhere in May, we think we'll be live fully in the area.
Excellent. Okay.
Awesome.
Great.
We've run out of time, I'm afraid, guys. It's been an interesting one. Thanks for coming in and sharing with us and talking about the Digital Community Hub. I'm excited to see it. It'd be good to get my hands on it. How can people reach you?
Well, obviously, you can find us on our website, so smartworldconnect.com, and there's a contact bit at the end. Just fill it in and that comes straight to us, and we're pretty good at replying because we're interested in finding other new places that might want to explore where this technology could work.
And can developer communities reach you through there as well?
Absolutely, yes. Anybody that feels that they've got a bit of experience in Flutter or want to know a bit more about that would be delighted, because it is still pretty new. It's really only a year in, and our developer team are keen to find more developers.
Yeah. Good stuff. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming in, and we hope to have you again.
Great. Thanks very much.
Take care.
Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode.
If you did, please remember to subscribe if you haven't already, and most importantly, leave us a comment or review on Apple Podcasts, as it really helps us to bring you new episodes regularly.
If you've got something to say around digital marketing and would like to feature on a future podcast, please do get in touch in any of the usual ways. You've been listening to Hit Publish with me, Chris.
And me, Ian.